I am leading you out of a place that has fulfilled its purpose, so that you may enter one better suited to the greater things waiting ahead. This transition is not a random event, nor is it a sign that you have done something wrong. I am not pushing you away from what is familiar in order to confuse you. I am gently drawing you out of a space that is no longer wide enough for the growth that has taken place within you. What once gave you a sense of security is beginning to feel restrictive. And the things you once wanted to hold on to no longer bring the same peace. This is not because you are ungrateful or unstable, but because one season has been completed and you are being prepared to enter a new stage. I want you to understand that restlessness within your heart is not always a sign of disorder. Sometimes it is a calling urging you toward the place where new favor can find you. My beloved child, there are things that cannot come to you while you insist on remaining in the same old position. This is not because the blessing is limited, but because you need a different environment in which to receive, preserve, and develop it fully. No matter how good a seed may be, it cannot flourish if it remains trapped in a pot whose nutrients have been exhausted. In the same way, you have learned the lessons that needed to be learned where you are. You have grown through conflict, wept, prayed, and quietly raised yourself again many times. I saw it all. Those days were not meaningless because they created the discernment, perseverance, and wisdom you possess today. But a place that once helped nurture you does not necessarily have to be the place where you remain forever. Being grateful for the past does not mean you must imprison your future within it. The transition I am bringing about may take many forms. For some, it may mean a change of residence, work, or community. For you, it may also mean leaving behind an old way of thinking, an unhealthy relationship, or a role that once suited you but now only leaves you exhausted. What matters is not how far you travel, but whether you have enough courage to step away from what has become too small. There are prisons without bars. They are built from habits, fear, and the belief that what is familiar is always safer than what is unknown. I am loosening you from those restraints. I do not want you to continue making your dreams smaller merely to fit within an environment that can no longer recognize your true value. You have prayed many times for change, but when the signs of change appeared, you became anxious because they did not resemble what you had imagined. You thought a new beginning would arrive with absolute certainty, but often it appears in the form of a closed door, an interrupted plan, or a relationship that naturally begins to grow distant. Do not be quick to call these things loss. Some endings are answers to prayers you once offered during long nights. The answer has simply arrived in a form you did not expect. You asked for freedom, but freedom requires you to release what has been holding you captive. You asked to turn a new page, but the new page cannot begin while you continue rereading the old one. I am helping you become strong enough to put down what you once believed you could not live without. The people gradually leaving your journey are not necessarily bad, and you do not need to turn every separation into a battle. Sometimes two people have simply completed the part of the road they were meant to walk together. Some connections helped you survive a stormy season, but were not created to accompany you during the time of rebuilding. Some people understood the former version of you, but cannot accept your new growth. Because when you change, they no longer receive the benefits they once expected from you. Allow them to leave in peace. You do not need to resent them, nor do you need to beg anyone to stay. What belongs to the next stage of your journey will not require you to betray yourself in order to preserve it. I have placed new encounters along the road ahead, but you must arrive at the right place for those meetings to occur. Someone is carrying an answer to a matter you have prayed about for a long time. An opportunity is waiting for the very experience you once believed was meaningless. There is a community where your differences will not be treated as something to hide, but as a valuable contribution. Yet, these things cannot enter your life while you spend all your energy knocking upon doors that have already closed. I am not hiding goodness from you. I have placed it in a location that will require you to grow. Become courageous and trust more deeply in order to reach it. Every step away from what is familiar but no longer suitable will bring you closer to what has been arranged. Even so, I am not telling you to act impulsively or abandon everything because of a passing emotion. True guidance always carries clarity, responsibility, and deep peace. Take time to observe what is being confirmed consistently, which doors are closing without needing to be forced, and which direction makes you more truthful and mature. Do not let the fear of missing out make you rush, but do not use caution as an excuse to delay forever. There is a time to wait and a time to move. Wisdom is the ability to recognize the difference. When you have received sufficient clarity, move forward without repeatedly asking the past for permission to leave. You must also understand that discomfort during a transition does not mean you have chosen wrongly. When a tree is moved into wider ground, its roots need time to adjust. When you enter a new place, everything may feel unfamiliar. The rhythm may be different, and you may not immediately feel that you belong. Do not return to a place that stopped your growth simply because the first few days are difficult. What is new does not always bring immediate familiarity, but it carries room for expansion. Give yourself time to learn, settle, and rebuild. I do not expect you to know everything from the beginning. I only ask that you do not surrender while still standing in the first steps of transformation. As you move forward, carry the good lessons from the former place, but do not carry the former mindset. Do not enter a new door, fearing that everyone will eventually disappoint you. Do not use old wounds to measure people who have never harmed you. Do not turn experience into a wall that prevents you from receiving what is sincere. Wisdom helps you create boundaries, but fear locks every entrance. I want you to remain awake while still being open, cautious without distrusting everyone, strong without becoming hardened. A new place requires a renewed person, not one who denies the past, but one who has healed enough not to allow the past to govern today's choices. My beloved child, the doors closing around you do not mean your life is becoming smaller. They are signs that I am gathering your steps into the right direction, removing paths that scatter your energy, and preserving your strength for the road that truly belongs to you. Not everything that fades needs to be restored. Some things must end so that something better can begin. Trust that I am not leading you out of the familiar, only to abandon you in emptiness. Before you arrive, I have already gone ahead. I have prepared support, placed the right people at the right time, and opened paths you cannot yet see. Your responsibility is not to understand the entire plan, but to remain faithful to the step being illuminated before you. Therefore, do not be afraid when you see your life changing its shape. What is leaving is merely creating room for greater fullness. The place you are going may not be perfect, but it will be more suitable for the person you are becoming. There you will use abilities that were once overlooked. Meet people who value your sincerity and understand why so many former paths could not continue. One day, when you look back, you will recognize that today's restlessness was the announcement of a great expansion. Walk in peace, without force, panic, or clinging. I am not taking you away from the place that belongs to you. I am leading you to the place where what has been prepared can flourish. When you become courageous enough to leave old limitations, you will discover that the greatest gift is not only the destination, but also the free, discerning, and steadfast person you become along the way. Listen to me with a peaceful heart, because what once made you believe you were being rejected was actually guiding you toward the place prepared for you. There were events you viewed through eyes filled with sorrow, but when the time is ripe, you will understand that they did not come to diminish your worth. A closed door is not always evidence that you are unworthy. Sometimes it is the way I prevent you from entering a room that would steal your peace. Someone leaving your life does not always mean you have done something wrong. At times, that departure is necessary so that you are no longer held inside a season that has already ended. I led you through turns you could not understand, preserved you during days when you believed you were completely alone, and held you through quiet care when you no longer had the strength to recognize it. Now the scattered pieces are beginning to connect, so that your memories will no longer bring only pain, but will also give you understanding. You are not moving backward simply because your journey looks different from someone else's. You have not been forgotten merely because what you are waiting for has not appeared according to your preferred timing. Some seasons look like stillness, but beneath that stillness, I am doing the deepest work. I am correcting the way you see yourself, releasing you from the need to prove your worth, and teaching you not to pursue every door merely because you fear losing an opportunity. You are exactly where you need to be in order to receive the final lesson before entering a new stage. If I moved you forward while you were still filled with unattended wounds, the very thing you requested might become a burden. Therefore, slowness is not punishment. It is mercy helping you become stable enough not to lose yourself when greater things are placed into your hands. I am opening understanding within your mind and placing calmness where anxiety once lived. Questions that continually circled within you will gradually lose their power because you are beginning to recognize that you do not need to know every detail in order to move forward. The mist that kept you from distinguishing what must remain, what must be released, and which direction should be chosen is beginning to disappear. Clarity will not always arrive through a dramatic sign. Often, it appears when you suddenly no longer desire to return to a place that drained you. When you become able to say no without guilt, or when peace comes as you accept that something has ended. What once appeared complicated will become simple when you stop trying to solve it through fear. You will recognize that some decisions do not need another 100 explanations. They need only honesty and courage. I know there were times when you doubted your worth because you placed too much confidence in the way others viewed you. One criticism could remain in your mind longer than dozens of encouraging words. One failure could make you forget every day you had faithfully tried. You wondered whether you had truly been chosen for anything good, or whether you were merely struggling to survive in a world that had no place for you. Today, I want you to end that way of seeing yourself. You were always known, even before you knew how to name the abilities within you. Your journey has meaning not because it has been completely smooth, but because through every rise and fall, You are becoming someone capable of bringing peace into places filled with chaos, gentleness into places filled with harshness, and hope to those who are considering surrender. You are not an insignificant presence, and your life is not a collection of random events. I placed within you a vitality that is not easily extinguished. It rose again many times after you fell, even when you did not recognize it as a gift. That strength caused you to awaken after exhausting nights. Continue doing what was right when no one was watching, and preserve kindness after being treated unjustly. You often believed strength had to appear as hardness. But true strength is sometimes simply the refusal to let pain turn you bitter. It is the ability to continue loving without forgetting yourself, to forgive without returning authority to what destroyed your peace, and to hope without remaining naive. What I am helping you understand is not meant to overwhelm you, but to remove invisible chains you have carried for too long. You held thoughts that did not belong to you, accepted responsibility for the emotions of others, and believed that if someone left, it must have been because you were not good enough. You carried fears inherited from former experiences and allowed them to decide how you entered new opportunities. There were days when you became so cautious that you no longer dared to live because you feared history would repeat itself. But the past is not a prophecy over the future. What happened can teach you discernment, but it must not be allowed to build walls around your life. It is time to return shame, fear of abandonment, and the compulsion to please everyone to their proper place behind you. You were not created to live continually waiting for something bad to happen. I want you to know the confidence that comes from understanding that you are accompanied. This confidence is not loud, does not need to be displayed, and does not cause you to see yourself as greater than anyone else. It is the ability to enter a room without feeling that you must become smaller, the steadiness to express your thoughts without harming anyone, and the courage to leave what no longer respects the values you preserve. When you know that I am with you, you no longer need to compete for attention, because you understand that what truly belongs to your journey will never require you to surrender your dignity in order to receive it. You can wait patiently without despair, work diligently without destroying yourself, and remain expectant without believing that you have been forgotten. What lies ahead has not been sent to frighten you, but to be received with preparation and awareness. Opportunities will appear in ways you never expected, perhaps beginning with a simple conversation, a small responsibility, or an idea you once dismissed. Do not despise humble beginnings. The first signs of transition may be so small that others fail to notice them, but you will feel that something is being restored to its proper place. A new habit will give you greater energy. A sincere relationship will remind you that respect does not need to be begged for. One decisive choice will release time you once wasted in hesitation. Then each small change will connect with another and form a direction so clear that you can no longer call it coincidence. Yet I want you to understand that alignment does not mean you will have nothing to do. What belongs to you may arrive at the right time, but you must still open your heart, prepare your abilities, and walk through the door when it opens. Do not confuse peace with passivity. My guidance does not replace your responsibility. It helps you exercise responsibility without being controlled by anxiety. When an opportunity comes, examine it with discernment. When you are entrusted with something small, carry it out faithfully. When you need to learn more, do not allow pride to prevent you from becoming a beginner. I will arrange the right connections, but you must bring sincerity. I will open the road, but you must have the courage to walk. I will give strength, but you must decide not to return to old patterns. You do not need to force anything to happen. Healthy relationships will not require you to keep chasing recognition. Good opportunities will not demand that you abandon every boundary and live in panic in order to preserve them. What is truly suitable may require effort, but it will not ask you to betray yourself. It creates room for you to grow, contribute, and be respected. Allow what must leave to leave. Do not try to restore something simply because it is familiar. Familiarity is not always safety. Just as newness is not necessarily danger. Judge everything by the fruit it produces. Does it help you become clearer, more peaceful, and more honest? Or does it keep you exhausted, confused, and doubtful of your worth? Before long, you will look back and understand that I never removed what was truly necessary for your calling. What was taken from the road was only creating room for something more suitable. The months you believed were wasted taught you patience. The times you were misunderstood taught you not to build your worth upon the changing opinions of others. The tears no one saw softened your heart so that you could recognize the pain of the person standing before you. None of these things must continue hurting you in the same way. They can become evidence that you overcame, matured, and were led out of the place you once believed you could never leave. Therefore, stop condemning yourself for what you did not know in the past. At that time, you chose according to the understanding and strength available to you. What I expect now is not that you return and repair every former moment, but that you use today's wisdom to live better. You cannot change yesterday, but you can refuse to allow it to continue controlling today. Release the accusations, care for the places that still hurt, and permit yourself to enter relief without feeling indebted to suffering. You do not need to live forever beneath punishment in order to prove that you regret what happened. Sincere change is the clearest evidence. Move forward with lighter shoulders, my beloved child, because confusion is giving way to clarity and fear is gradually losing its voice. I remain beside you in every step, not only when you are strong, but also during the days when you need rest. You are being guided, but you are also being taught to walk with maturity. You are protected, not so that you may hide from life, but so that you may live more courageously. What is coming will not require you to become a stranger to yourself. It will call you back to the truthful, peaceful, and steadfast person I have always seen. Allow what has reached its end to close. Give what is taking root enough room to grow. Let the future find you ready, not begging the past to change, not panicking before the unknown, but calmly entering what I have quietly prepared for a long time. The storms surrounding you did not arise because you are weak, but because you carry something so valuable that the road ahead will require the presence, voice, heart, and steadfastness I placed within you. You looked at one trial after another and wondered why your path appeared more difficult than the paths of others, and why you had to face things that those beside you seemed never to experience. There were days when you became weary of having to remain strong. There were moments when you wished you could live an ordinary life without having to fight so hard to preserve your peace. But my beloved child, your road is different because what has been entrusted to you is also different. I did not place a profound calling upon you and then lead you through a shallow journey. What is being formed within you will have the power to touch others, open new paths, and bring light into places long covered by despair. Therefore, What you have endured is not evidence that you were forgotten. It is a sign that you are being prepared for a responsibility that requires a person of depth. What carries a noble purpose rarely moves through life without resistance. When a small seed is meant to exist for only a brief season, it does not need to establish deep roots. But when a tree is being prepared to stand through many seasons, its roots must descend into layers of earth that cannot be seen. You are the same. I allowed you to face strong winds, not so that they could destroy you, but so that the foundation within you could become firm. The things that made you weep taught you to recognize truth among false words. Rejection forced you to stop placing your worth in the hands of others. The seasons when you had to walk alone taught you to listen to guidance from within instead of chasing every voice around you. The resistance may have been great, but it was never greater than the protection surrounding your journey. Some things came very near but could not touch you. Some intentions appeared ready to harm you, but were stopped before you even knew they existed. I was always watching, even when all you could see was confusion. I know there were moments when you felt that you were breaking into pieces and no longer had enough strength to keep everything together. You tried to remain steady in front of others. But when you were alone, you did not know how to support yourself. That loneliness wounded you more deeply than the trial itself, because you were not only tired from what was happening, but also from feeling that no one understood what you were carrying. You tried to explain, but words seemed insufficient. You waited for someone to recognize the exhaustion behind your smile, but many saw only your calm appearance and assumed you were fine. Yet even in those moments, you were never abandoned. When you no longer had enough strength to lift yourself, I quietly sent help that you sometimes recognized only later, a word arriving at the right moment, a delay preventing you from entering danger, someone unexpectedly remaining when everyone else left, or simply new endurance appearing when you believed you had nothing left. Look back and remember how many times you believed you could not overcome, yet you are still standing here. There were events that should have caused you to close your heart forever, but you still have the ability to love. There were words that should have caused you never to trust yourself again, but somewhere within you, a gentle voice continued, reminding you that your story was not finished. There were losses that could have made you abandon all hope. Yet you still found a reason to awaken and continue. This was not coincidence, nor was it only your own strength. It was the mark of a protection that continued working even when you could not feel it. The battle around you may have wounded you, but it could not remove the goodness I planted within you. On the contrary, the places that seemed determined to break you became the very places where you discovered that you were stronger than you had believed. Now I am calling you into deeper trust. Not merely trust when doors open. People agree with you, or results become visible. But trust when plans change. Answers come slowly, and you do not understand why something you desired did not happen. True trust is not measured during favorable days. It is revealed in the way you remain steady when everything appears to move away from your expectations. You must believe that a more mature version of you is being formed through these very trials. There are things I have not yet given because you are still learning how to preserve them without losing yourself. There are places I have not allowed you to enter because arriving too early might require you to pay a price that was not worth paying. Delay is not always rejection. Often, it is a protective barrier keeping you from what is unsuitable for the present time. In the same way, closed doors do not always mean you lack value. Some doors close because behind them lies only the repetition of old wounds. Some people leave because they were meant to walk with you for only one part of the journey. Some opportunities fail to materialize because they would keep you busy without bringing you closer to your purpose. You once viewed these things as losses, wondered what you had done wrong, and attempted to return and repair what I was helping you release. But you will come to understand that not everything you lose must be recovered. Some departures make your journey lighter. Some empty spaces are created so that something more sincere can enter. I am not taking goodness from you. I am separating you from what cannot accompany you into the new place. Remember that you are not entering the future alone. The presence that carried you through the darkest days will not abandon you when light begins to appear. I did not lead you this far, only to leave you standing before a new threshold without guidance. When you need to decide, I will give you discernment. When you become afraid of what is unfamiliar, I will place enough calmness within you to take another step. When you are tempted to return to what is old, merely because it is familiar, I will remind you why you were led out of it. You do not need to know the entire road immediately. You need only remain faithful to the light given for today. Every right step will reveal the next one, and every choice guided by peace will bring you nearer to the place prepared for you.